Hello everyone, this is me Ethan here and welcome back to another film review, and today I'll be giving you all my review on Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Of course, as always, my expectations with the film, I did not have a lot of excitement going into this film. I really just wanted to go see this movie with my friends. I have seen the first Shazam film, but I only saw it last year for the first time. I really wanted to see it in theaters whenever it came out, but I never got around to it, and I thought it was a fun, cute movie about a child becoming a superhero. Perfectly small scale, perfectly charming. I like the family drama. It was overall a solid 7 out of 10 superhero film. I like the uniqueness of it, even though the action scenes were so-so. I like the self-aware parts. The Zachary Levi was great in it. Overall, I really enjoyed the film. However, I knew this sequel was happening after I watched the film, and I really thought that it didn't need a sequel. I thought it stood on its own perfectly fine. Maybe Shazam would show up in another DC movie in the future, but I thought it worked fine just as its own self-contained movie. I never really thought there was going to be a sequel, but here we are. I never really thought it was necessary. The trailers didn't really wow me. Seemed a little bit generic, a little more like the first, just bigger and less small scale, and that's pretty much what we got. On to the characters. For Billy Batson, aka Shazam, I enjoyed his character once again. However, you mainly see Shazam, you mainly see Zachary Levi for almost the entire runtime of this film. There is very little actual Asher Angel, Billy Batson in this film. Whenever he's in it, it's really good, but he's not in here for a majority of the runtime. And that honestly kind of disappointed me because I really liked Billy's character in the first Shazam because he was fun as Shazam and he was fun as Billy Batson. Both of the two worked perfectly together and there was a nice balance. The rest of the Shazamly are great as well, and you rarely ever see the kids in their normal kid form. They're almost always in their suits, almost always in their superhero form. I really like their sort of superhero cave that looks like a teenager's bedroom, but it's like this ancient area with floating books and all this ancient artifact stuff. I really like that. Once again, you don't see the kids that much. You mainly see them in their superhero form. Jack Dylan Grazer is really the only one that gets a lot of time to shine, and he has a great chemistry with Rachel Zegler's character in the film that I enjoyed. And also, I can't remember her name, but the lady who played Mary Marvel, she was supposed to have some sort of arc in the film, but that never really got fleshed out. Overall, I enjoyed the Shazamily. I thought they were still fun, they were still funny, they had their good moments, but they were just, once again, just kind of background characters. They were there having fun alongside Billy. The Wizard, once again, was great, played by Digimon Hansu. I don't know how to say his name, but he does great in this role once again, and it's by far my favorite performance of his out of all three Shazam movies at this point. I thought he was hilarious, and his banter between Jack Dylan Grazer in this film is just unmatched. It was very funny to me. On to the villains. They're kind of strange. I enjoyed the Daughters of Atlas as their own unique concept. They aren't comic book villains from the past. They're just original villains for the film. I thought they were fun. David F. Sandberg loves horror, so he implements that. So there's a little bit more of a villainous presence than there was in the previous film with that other guy who I can't remember the name of. So I enjoyed these three villains quite a bit more than that guy, but at the same time, they're once again kind of back and forth, and you never really know if they're villains or heroes or really what they are at all. But I like the mythology behind their characters, and for that reason, especially, I like them better than the guy in the previous film. Now, there is story here, there is just not a lot of it. Like I said before, almost all of our kids are superhero adults for pretty much the entire runtime, and it's like 80-20 compared to, I'd say, like 60-70 superhero and 50-40 child in the original one. It was more balanced there, and that's what made it so enjoyable for me, is because you got the superhero life and you got the kid life at the same time, and that's what made the first one so much fun. But here, there's just superheroes for most of the time, so you mainly just get a bunch of generic stuff that you've seen before. There are some familiar beats that you've seen in the previous one. Like, for example, there's supposed to be this sort of plot going on between Billy Batson and his foster mom, and it's introduced at the beginning, and it's kind of wrapped up by the end, but kind of not. It's not fully fleshed out. It's not fully developed. They really introduce at the beginning. They go through the beats throughout the middle, and then at the end they acknowledge it, and that's about it. And also, one of my issues is that there's a major difference between Asher Angel's performance as Billy Batson and Zachary Levi's performance as Shazam. In the first film, there's a pretty big difference between like this depressed kid who's been through multiple foster homes and him being Shazam and being all fun and lighthearted, but it made sense there because it was making him happy. Here, Billy Batson is a lot more mature as a child because he's going through some foster kid struggles and stuff, but whenever he turns into Shazam, you don't see much of that. You see a little bit of it where he's really attached to his family and they're kind of going away, and you see that, what's it called, where he's getting like therapy from the pediatrician. You get that, but other than that, there's a pretty huge difference. Like Zachary Levi's even more goofy in here than he was in the first, and Billy Batson's even more serious in here than he was in the first. So there's not a balance between the two characters. They feel pretty far apart, pretty different. That frustrated me. I enjoyed both of their performances. They just felt completely different. The action in here, for the most part, is fairly basic stuff that you've seen in any other superhero film, where you've got superheroes clashing with other superheroes using magical staffs, magical powers. There's even some like similar Doctor Strange stuff in here. It's okay, it's entertainment, it's watchable, but there were two standout scenes in this movie that I really enjoyed. First off being the opening sequence, where they're saving people from a crashing bridge. I don't know how the bridge was starting to fall apart, but they were saving civilians, and you don't normally see that in superhero films, at least the modern ones nowadays. And I just really liked seeing a family of superheroes rescue civilians. It's just that classic superhero stuff that makes you feel good, and they used holding out for a hero perfectly in that scene, so for that reason I really enjoyed the opening. And then the final fight, the fight with the dragon, was super fun. They clearly saved up a lot of their VFX money for that final battle. The dragon looked amazing, the CGI looked great on that, and overall that was a very entertaining final battle. But my final real issue here is the final act. Not so much the final battle, but the final act. They do something that feels very dumb, and it's kind of a cop-out ending. But you know what's going to happen if you've seen any sort of advertising, especially if you've seen like the second trailer that released, or the social media ad that was put out a lot on Instagram that showed a cameo character. There's a point towards the end of the film where something big happens. You're supposed to feel something, but you don't, because you know what's going to happen because it's already been spoiled to you online. And that frustrated me, because if that cameo wasn't spoiled online, and if that ending wasn't spoiled online for me, I would have felt the tension in those scenes, and I would have been really excited about that cameo. It's a really good cameo. It just was spoiled for me, so I felt like no excitement because I had already seen it on my phone. So that was very frustrating for me. But overall, the final act is decent. The final battle's good. It's just they do something in the ending that I didn't like, and I knew what was going to happen because the media already marketed it to me. All in all, I give Shazam! Fury of the Gods a 7 out of 10. I know that may seem surprising, but I think this film deserved way more. It's not doing well financially at the box office, which is unfortunate, and there are many things going against it, like the James Gunn reboot and all this stuff. There's even March Madness going on, and there's so many other superhero movies releasing before and after that people have to prioritize their money. There were so many things going against this film, unfortunately. I personally really enjoyed it as just a fun, feel-good superhero flick. It's not as good as the first one by a long shot, but I still really enjoyed it as just a basic, fun watch. It's just simple. It knows what it wants to do. It's funny. The action scenes, for the most part, are pretty entertaining. The characters are pretty likable. And overall, I just had a fun time with it. So I enjoyed the movie. So have you seen Shazam! Fury of the Gods? It's likely that you have not, but if you have, please let me know your thoughts on it in the comment section down below. So if you all enjoyed this review, and if you all enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I will see you all in the next one. Bye, and have a great day.